What's up, guys? Welcome to the Fitness Playbook. I'm Dennis.
I'm Dan.
And I'm Eugene.
Why do you have to have that look when you say?
Okay.
What's with the creepy smile?
It wasn't time for you to come in yet, but
Okay, fine. Shall we? I kind of want to keep that in though.
okay, it's good. Let's keep that.
All right.
Let's keep that. Okay, so this is chapter 5, right? It's already chapter 5.
Yep.
Chapter 5, we have our very first guest, which is Eugene. Okay. For those of you that are watching this, or listening to this, you guys will probably already know who Eugene is because he's probably in the gym 24/7. Well, pretty close to 24 hours.
Yeah, and if you don't happen to be a regular at Playground and you don't know who he is one of our PT clients.
Yeah.
Been with us for
A year.
a year?
Actually,
yeah.
a year. Okay. And you'll probably always catch him either shirtless
Yep.
or walking around trying to see what everyone else is up to.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're lucky enough to have him with us today, and although we know everything, well, mostly about you, no one really knows who you are. So I think the biggest thing here is you've kind of adopted this nickname.
What nickname?
Don't act like you don't know your nickname.
I don't know my nickname.
Oh, there's a nickname.
You wanna
have a
say it?
nickname. Yeah. No, you can say it.
All right. To everybody out there who doesn't know, Eugene is known as Mr. Shit to Fit.
Oh, I thought it was orangutan or something.
No.
Get
No.
it was wolf.
Yeah. Eugene actually has a pretty incredible transformation. I would say not just physically, but mentally as well, right? And I think it's important for everyone who is kind of, who has a New Year resolution or someone who has a goal. I think it's good for you guys to kind of see how someone kind of, the process, that it takes for someone to get to where they are, right? Because everyone thinks that it's like a overnight thing, but it's really not. I think it took you over a span of pretty much, 6 months before you really, really started to see the changes on your body. So I think that's a good estimate for anyone who's trying to kind of see some changes, right? Just be patient. I remember this guy asking me like in the beginning, like so many questions about the nutrition, and I just don't just trust the process. It's going to happen. Yeah.
Actually, I don't actually know. How did you even come to Playground? Like, how did he become your client in the first place? Because I just remember one day walking to the gym and seeing him there. I'm like, oh, new guy. Because it looked like he'd been trained. I thought he followed you from outside. To be completely honest, I thought he was your client from your last
From outside.
He wasn't. Actually, surprisingly, I've only met Eugene after, and I've only been working at Playground for that 1 month because I came in around the end of November.
Yeah.
So I started my first month December, and then comes January, I get a contact from Benas. Benas is not here anymore.
Benas.
Okay, we miss you, Benas, if you're listening to this.
From Turkey.
I'll bet you any amount of money. She's not listening.
Yeah, well, it's okay. We can always crop this part and then just
Send it to you.
Yeah. But she told me that there's this guy that interested. I think you kind of messaged on. You sent an email.
I actually Instagram.
Oh yeah, it was Instagram. You're right. It was the Instagram, and then they screenshot it, and then Benas told me to follow up with you.
Yep.
So then I remember that you said, you can come in the afternoon, but I remember specifically, I think the first time we sent an appointment, you couldn't make it.
Yep.
Yeah. So then I already, damn, this guy, the first appointment we said, he's like, can't make it. I was like, okay, shit. I was like, okay. But then, I think it was like we set an appointment the day right after, and then he came in, and then, and we just talked, actually. And I think you told me that you started at Fire Station first, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, Fire Station. Why did you choose Fire Station?
No, I think it's because I work in Montclair, so Fire Station is really,
Convenience.
really near.
Okay,
Yeah, really
convenience.
near.
Okay, I get that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I think everyone wants to know, why did you choose Playground then?
I think After my sessions with Fire Station, I kind of tried to look for something else, more weightlifting or trying to just transform, what.
Did you go on like social media?
I did. And
you went on Instagram?
Yeah.
How did you found us on Instagram?
So Playground was on Instagram.
I think the ads, right?
Yes, and everyone's saying like this is like the most expensive, best gym you can get. And at that time, right?
Notice the first
No,
word.
yeah.
The first one is expensive.
Seriously. At the time, I was desperate. I was
He
desperate,
didn't use anything else.
Great
I
to put it on
was
podcast.
waiting for him to say the best gym,
No,
best
it's
personal
just
training studio.
expensive goes out first.
Yeah. So to me, if I'm really paying this much money, I hope to see something.
Yeah.
A result. So yeah, that's why.
Yeah, he. I think in the beginning, you came in and you were about what 83 kilos.
No, I think it was
More,
about
right? 85.
86, 87.
86. Yeah, actually.
And that was me and one of my best. Kind of lost
Yeah.
a lot of weight before I came to Playground.
You did that all by yourself, right? Prior.
From not eating and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm 85 right now.
So it's still shit.
Well, that's not okay. I think it was funny is I remember our interaction in the beginning. I was just thinking because everything I was telling him when I met him for because during movement screening, right? Well, aside from his movement screening, I was like, this guy is like super tight. I was like, his mobility is terrible. I was like, this guy can't even squat. I remember when he was doing overhead squat, the overhead test. But I remember everything I was saying. He was like, he really kind of like sat there and like just absorbed everything I was saying. I was like, okay, I wonder how much of this is actually going to like.
Well, there's one thing that you didn't know though. When I first came for the movement screening, I was like seated beside you and doing this. I was hoping you would just say that, oh, you actually work out, but. No.
You were flexing all the time.
I was like,
You're just waiting to say, so how long have you been working out? Oh, you got good. That compliment never came.
I'll be like, oh, you actually have some base and stuff, right? But no.
Well, listen, I might have thought that in my head. I just didn't came out directly.
Shit.
Okay? But yeah, I think it's very. I think it's actually very inspiring for people who are actually currently right now on the weight loss journey because initially, right, I remember when you first started, I think that was probably you started to see some of those body fat kind of come down the fastest, right? Yeah, I think within a span of like 6 to 8 weeks, I think that's usually the case. But it was, I mean, can you tell us, was it easy for you to kind of have to change your eating habits, your lifestyle?
I think for me, I went a bit drastic when I first joined Playground. I didn't really understand nutrition that well. So I told myself, anything that's convenient to me, I'll just remove it. So it was mostly rice and noodles, right? So I kind of took out rice and noodles for like 6 months. It's because, every time when I walk into a coffee shop, everywhere is just rice and noodles. Everything convenient is just rice and noodles.
And at that time, you were kind of still eating out, right?
Yes, I was.
Yeah,
So when I removed these two, when I go to like coffee shops, restaurants and stuff, I kind of like think about what I should be eating instead. So instead of eating the rice and noodles, I start taking dishes from, the chap fan shop and stuff. So it started from there. And then after that, I started to understand more about what I should eat more or should eat less, and then it just changed after.
To be fair, like eating out in Malaysia or just Asia in general, like it's not the easiest of things, because for Asians, one of our primary part of our meal is the carb.
Yes.
It's the rice.
Noodles.
Anywhere else in the world, be like meat, surrounded by the vegetables. Right. Here it's like the carb, the rice, the noodle.
Here I am eating mangoes.
Yeah.
Carbs, guys.
So like it's understandable because a lot of people, everybody out there in Asia will really come across this issue where you're eating out. I'm having this issue right now. If I eat out, I'll be like, shit. I have to order extra portion of like the meat.
Exactly.
I have to pay extra
and it's actually more expensive.
Yeah. Because the meat itself
yes.
is like if you want to get extra, you gotta pay extra portions, right?
Yeah.
And when you pay extra, then you only get like what, maybe max 100 grams.
Yeah.
Of
if the guy is generous.
Yeah. Exactly.
But generally, that's why if I go out to eat, to a hawker or like to a, I always get caring to kind of order food. Because they see a pretty girl, they always kind of give you a little extra. Yeah. If it's an auntie, then it's okay. If it's a guy, then
What are you trying to say?
Yeah, but I think here's the biggest thing is that because of where we are, the majority of our calorie intake is going to obviously come from carbs, right? So, and because that's the most accessible type of macro that we have, that's the one that we're going to be full from, that everyone is actually going to be full from.
Yeah.
Rice, noodles. You generally look at a typical bowl, you get like only barely, like this much meat, not even. So, I think the hardest part for people is kind of change that they can actually eat more, but they have to eat more of the right things, not eat less and starve yourself. Yeah, and I think it takes a lot of trial and error because you can tell someone that, but unless they actually do it, they won't really understand and see it firsthand, right?
Yeah. I mean, let's take it for somebody who's literally done it. Like, if you had to pick three things, like, in terms of eating habits that you find like helped you the most, what would it be? Three things.
Eating habits?
Yeah. From what you were eating before, going out eating or whatever, and then suddenly to the change.
I think my biggest change was taking out alcohol, cold turkey.
Yes.
That was my biggest change.
And I'm going to. This I have it on my phone, but I'm not going to show you guys. This might be like a thumbnail or something when we put it up. But what he said is completely correct. I remember, and actually before I even get to that, can you tell us why was alcohol like such a big deal? I mean, I think you told me before it was part of your work, right?
Yeah. So because I'm in sales, so a lot of the work that I do requires me to wine and dine my clients. So wherever they want to eat, I have to eat where they want to eat.
Yes.
And wherever they want to drink or how much they want to drink, I have to just suck it up and do whatever they want me to do, right?
A lot of our clients.
Yeah, and
like courtesy and like respect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when I say no to something like this, it's gonna be like, hey, what are you doing?
Especially if you're trying to close a deal or
Exactly,
something, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people out there who is kind of doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's not easy, man. Like, trust me, I know, like, people say wine that is, no, it's not, because I think majority of the time it's more drinking than anything.
Yeah.
And, it really kind of, people don't understand, like, you can have beer, even just beer, or rather just, hard liquor, both of those is going to affect, your body composition. So and from him to speak firsthand, I think when you guys see it, I think it was the change from about, I think it was the third or fourth month. I remember we took your progress photo, and then that time, there wasn't much change. It was still about the same from the second month. And I was just thinking, I was like, so what have you been doing? What do you think you still improve on? Everything else stayed the same. I remember you said that, he didn't actually cook any food, like prep any food. You know what he told me? He ate Japanese almost every day.
Yes.
No, it's the easiest. It's in my mind, if you eat Japanese, it's clean, it's tasty.
Yeah, he ate Japanese every day. But aside from just cleaning up his diet, the majority of the calories are still coming from the alcohol.
Yeah.
So I was actually surprised because coming into, I think, the fifth month, we took your progress photo, and I wasn't actually expecting that his body composition to lean out so much. I did notice a little bit in his arms. I was just like, oh, okay. I was like, I start to see more definition in his arms.
And you don't say,
hey man, listen, I don't give out compliments easily.
You sound like a deprived child.
I
You know what I mean? It's like all you want
is my coach.
All you want is daddy's
I don't give out
approval.
compliments easily. If you deserve it, and I did. I was like, when he took off his shirt, I was like, oh man, I was like, you got the six pack now. And after the session, he was like, for 30 minutes, I was helping him take photos. You see, a good coach knows where
That was the turning point.
where the good lighting was. And I was like, oh, you know what? Come in the office. Let's take a picture here. I was like, okay, come out here. Let me see the natural lighting. Yeah, and then it was actually quite shocking because I think he was the first person to have such a drastic transformation. It really kind of I would hope that it kind of served as an inspiration for the other people that comes in here, because that's how it should be. ideally, right? Because
Yeah.
you're paying money and it's not cheap, but you gotta get, you gotta get something out of it.
Yeah.
If you're okay with just being how you are by the end of like 6 months, something is wrong.
I think it comes down to like the whole thing of like most people when they go to the gym, a lot of people actually when they go to the gym, they shell out that money. They don't realize that you're paying the trainer or the coach or whoever, the consultant, whatever, to help you out, but they're not with you 24/7 when you're at home. When it's 2 a.m. and you're having a midnight snack kind of thing. They're not just there over your shoulder going, "What you eating, bro?"
Yeah, we can't do everything.
We can't.
we're not
as
magicians,
coach,
right?
we can't watch your every move. So we're only about like what?
1 hour.
Yeah, hour and the times
4
we
hours
text
a week.
questions.
Yeah.
We're probably only like what 30%, 40% of the process. The other 60% comes from yourself and your own discipline that can, make the difference. Will make the difference between you actually seeing a change and not. Which is, I think, the issue a lot of people have nowadays is they take it for granted. So they think just by stepping to a gym and shelling out that money, I'm gonna make that transformation, no problem.
Yeah.
But like, some people they just think I can keep drinking, it's fine. Like the alcohol is not an issue. We'll say alcohol's not a carb, it's fine. But then they don't see any changes.
Yeah, and that's sometimes just being ignorant, not being aware of what they're putting into the body, right? Yeah, and it's funny because if you have these things taken care of, right? If you do these small little things, they kind of add up. And he was only training with me 3 times a week, and only afterwards, then he initiated, right? I think you told me.
Yeah, I want to do more.
Yeah, he said let's do 4 times a week. Now even sometimes maybe 5, right?
Yeah.
So I think that just goes to show that if you kind of take care of these, whether it's just controlling your alcohol intake, your food intake, it's going to help you in other areas in fitness. I mean, the fact that, of course, I would not recommend this to someone just starting out to train 4 times a week. But again, like when you start to see the results, right, on your body, you're going to have that motivation, that drive to keep coming, right? Yeah.
You get addicted to it, don't you? Like when you see that first bit of change, you're like, oh, wait a minute, I've not seen abs before. Like I've not seen my arms look like this before. Something like that. Then you're like, oh, it is possible, and then you kind of get hooked on it.
Yeah. I actually, before we go for, I actually want to take it back. I'm not sure. I think before you came to Playbook, right? Were you currently happy with your body image at that time? I think you were dealing with some depression issues, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think before I joined Playground, I wasn't in the right place. So I didn't like how I looked. I didn't like how I feel after I drink. Didn't like how I feel, especially after I eat. It's like I don't have any self-control. It's like every time I see something delicious, I'll finish it, and then I'm like, shit, why did I do this to myself? And
It's that guilt, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and I constantly have this feeling every day.
But at that time, you were still training at fire station.
Yeah, so on and off, I wasn't active.
Okay.
So and I hated that feeling. Like, why did I drink? Why did I do this? Why did I spend money on this? Like that feeling of
And
not being able to control myself, right? So, and I didn't like that feeling, And every time I take out my shirt, I'm embarrassed by how I look. So so when I first came, you asked me to take the first progress photo, right? I was so embarrassed to take out my shirt, right?
Listen, people, this guy went from not showing anything. He was like, I asked him to take off his shirt. He was like, he's taking off so slowly. Like
Now
he can walk
now it's
around
literally-
half naked. Come on.
Sometimes I don't even bring t-shirts
Like,
to
Yeah,
gym.
literally sometimes I see him walking through the front door. We're all inside training our clients. He's at the front, right? He walks in. He's wearing his office shirt. Within seconds, I kid you not, within seconds, he's just walking out in shorts and like shirtless. I'm just like, when do you just rip the shirt off and like Bruce Almighty that? Or
Yeah. I mean, so I think you can, because that was the deciding factor, right? In when you said you were going to make the change, right? And how has transforming your body actually helped you in that sense, right? Now we see a lot of changes physically, but I'm interested, how has that changed your mindset? I mean, did that change anything from when you started till now?
Well, I think best thing is that right now, every time when I eat, I know what I'm eating. So CJ once told me, eat with purpose. So ever since he said that, it kind of like hit me, like every time when I put something in my mouth, I know what I'm doing.
Now you're more conscious, more aware, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So it makes me feel like I'm in control now. Like not my mouth, not my mind or whatnot. I'm like 100% in the moment. I know what I'm doing. I know I won't